The littoral combat ship USS Coronado takes part in the Cooperation Afloat Readiness and Training exercise with the Republic of Singapore and Royal Thai Navies on May 11, 2017. Mass communications specialist third-class Devon Lealis Navy U.S. lawmakers on Wednesday criticized a handful of weapons systems as examples of problematic acquisition programs, including the Navy's littoral combat ship and the Army's handgun and battlefield intelligence system. Representative John Garamendi, a Democrat from California, singled out the littoral combat ship, the Sea Service's roughly $34 billion effort to develop a total of 40 ships with multiple variants and mission modules to operate near shores. The fundamental argument made by the Navy and by the defense industry was, well, we gotta continue to produce another 20 of these ships that serve really no good purpose, and, by the way, will probably be sunk at the very first shot that'll be fired, and don't have much utility, but we need to do it, because we need to keep the defense base working, he said. His comments came during a hearing of the House Armed Services Committee on Acquisition Reform. The panel's chairman, Representative Mac Thornberry, a Republican from Texas, on Thursday introduced legislation designed to improve how the Pentagon buys weapons and services. Other lawmakers have called for expanding the LCS program. The Navy, meanwhile, plans to double down on the concept of modularity, in part to expand its fleet of ships to 355. During the hearing, Representative Duncan Hunter, a Republican from California, took aim at the Army's $580 million modular handgun system to replace the Beretta M9 service pistol with the SIG Sauer P320. He also criticized the service's version of the roughly $10 billion Distributed Common Ground System, a battlefield intelligence system, the troops have said, as less intuitive than a commercial off-the-shelf product made by California-based Palantir Technologies Incorporated. For instance, the Army pistol, which you guys talk about, what a joke, he said. 10 years just to put out your requirements for a handgun is just stupid. The Distributed Common Ground System, billions and billions of dollars spent when they could have used commercial sources to do a lot of that. Hunter referred to the Army acquisition process as a self-licking ice cream cone, and that officials write things for themselves so they can do more things for themselves to do more things for themselves, ad nauseum. Service leaders have defended the new handgun as offering increased lethality, faster target acquisition and better reliability. They've also pledged to improve the intel system. Representative Stephen Knight, a Republican from California, compared how much longer the Pentagon took to develop the fifth-generation F-22 Raptor stealth fighter than the Century Series fighters during the Cold War. The Century Series fighter system was built in the 50s, all of them in about 9 years. We put out the F-100 to the F-106 in about 9 years, he said. How we could do that, and then we moved to the fifth generation, and it took 50 months to the first flight just boggles me. Testifying at the hearing were members of the so-called Section 809 panel, a congressionally mandated body tasked with studying acquisition reform. The 18-member group has submitted initial findings on the topic and plans to release a final report in January 2019. The way the Department of Defense buys what it needs to equip its warfighters is from another era, the report states in its summary of problems facing the roughly $300 billion annual defense contracting business. Notably, more than half of that business, or about 53%, is for services, not hardware.